Closely related to site management is our next concept, workplace safety at construction sites. Construction sites are where you could be spending a good deal of time, so it is imperative that you are aware of safety management. That's for your own safety, for other construction workers' safety, and safety of members of the general public. The legislation which governs site management usually governs safety management as well. Sometimes people take unnecessary risks in construction. There are other ways to shade from the sun, and these 5 people under the heavy machinery are exposing themselves to unnecessary risk, as is the person being dangled off the edge of the building. There are enough risks on construction sites without voluntarily creating more risk. The construction industry has the 3rd highest fatalities in Australia. Safety changes need to be continually made to improve safety in the construction industry. In the years to 2013, there were 402 construction worker deaths, with the highest percentage being from falls, compared to all industries with the highest percentage from vehicle collisions. This gives an idea as to what needs more focus in each industry. And also note that deaths by contact with electricity are higher in construction than other industries. Also in the UK, falls, slips and trips cause most major injuries. Major injuries can affect whether someone can work or not and affect their income earning capacity. Also, if you think about this on a society-wide scale, it will affect how much society can produce if too many people are injured and unable to work. This is a chart of less severe injuries in the UK, mostly due to handling and slips and trips. Now, looking at other health risks in construction, they include lung issues caused by airborne particles created by spray painting, welding or cutting cement or brick. There's dermatitis, that's either immediate or developed over time from frequent exposure to materials such as cement and acrylic sealants used in finishing works. There's asbestosis. This is from the widespread use of asbestos in the construction industry until it was banned in the 1990s. Asbestos still remains within many buildings and must be managed and controlled during refurbishment or demolition works. Then there's cancers from silica and other materials which raise particulates when cut. Although most cancers are caused by asbestos, there are still concerns around other materials as well. Vibration white finger, also known as hand-done vibration, caused by the repeated or constant use of vibrating power tools such as breakers, drills or compactors. It damages the hands and causes a loss of feeling, limited use and pain. We also have upper limb and spine back disorder, often grouped as musculoskeletal disorders. These are caused by poor manual handling of large or awkward loads or repetitive processes, such as bricklaying, which do not necessarily involve heavy loads, but do involve constant twisting and bending. How is health and safety managed? It's managed by compliance with health and safety legislation, such as the Work Health and Safety Act, through safety management systems from which safety plans are derived, and also developing a safety culture within the construction industry. For example, you will often see signs on major construction sites that everyone has the right to return home at the end of the day. Now, managing risks within construction work, they're managed by identifying hazards, assessing the risks, controlling the risks, and reviewing control measures. The first step in the risk management process is to identify hazards associated with construction work. A hazard is the potential for something to cause harm, whereas the risk is the likelihood of something actually causing harm. For example, the edge of the slab here is a fall hazard, and should a fall occur, there is potential for serious harm. However, with the edge protection, as shown here, it reduces the risk so people cannot fall over the edge so easily. There is still a hazard as you're at height, but the risk has been reduced by the edge protection. Now, some examples of hazards are the construction workplace itself, including its location, layout and condition. It could be messy. The use of ladders. There's falling objects such as tools, debris and equipment. You could have collapse of trenches, and the hazard could also be the physical working environment. There's potential for electric shock, fire or explosion, slips, trips and falls. Now, assessing the risk includes considering the severity of any injury or illness that could occur. For example, is it a small isolated hazard that could result in very minor injury, or is it a significant hazard that could have wide-ranging and severe effects, as well as the likelihood or chance that someone or many people will suffer? And another example, you could have a couple of specialist subcontractors welding in a confined space who are trained in working in confined spaces with all the appropriate safety equipment and training. Then the risk of injury is less with these specialist subcontractors than with a general labourer doing the same task. Now, in many circumstances, a risk assessment will assist in determining the control measures that should be implemented. The risk assessment will help to identify which workers are at risk of exposure, determine what sources and processes are causing that risk, identify if and what kind of control measures should be implemented, and check the effectiveness of the existing control measures. Now, a risk assessment is not necessary if the risk and how to control it is already known. And under work health and safety regulations, a risk assessment is not mandatory for construction work. However, it is required for specific situations. For example, when working with asbestos, where experts are needed to examine the situation on a case-by-case basis on how to safely remove the asbestos.